Good morning, children. I hope you are all keeping good at home. Mine is new to you. I am Pridarani, here to take the textual exercise of the lesson 4, the blind man and the elephant. I know you all are aware of the story that literature teacher has taken. You know very well what happened to the blind man when they saw the elephant in a circus. So the lesson is the blind man and the elephant, and see the picture of 6 blind men went to learn about an elephant in a circus. So you all know what happened there, no? What happened there? The blind men, they haven't seen the elephant. When they reached there, what did they do? They touched different parts of its body, and they all consider the elephant as according to what they guessed. So the first man go and touch the side of the elephant, and he thought that the elephant is just like a wall. And the second blind man felt the elephant's tusk, and he believed that it is just like a spear. And the third blind man touched the elephant's trunk, and he guessed that it is just like a snake. Fourth blind man touched the huge leg, and he thought it is just like a tree. The fifth blind man felt the elephant's ear, and he believed that the elephant is just like a fan. And the last blind man caught the elephant's tail, and he thought that it was just like a rock. So they all believed that the elephant is what they thought of. But who helped them? A wise man helped them. So this is what you have learned in your previous classes. Now today we are just going to know what is there in the textual exercises. So can we move on to the textual exercises? Hope you are there with your textbook. Take page number 32. There you have comprehension. First we can do the comprehension. Take a pencil in your hand and get ready with your textbook. Can we move on to the comprehension part? Are you ready? Okay. Now listen. See, match the following. 2 columns are there. I know that you know the story very well. 2 columns are there, column A and column B. First we can find out which are the phrases given in the column A, and then some words are there in column B. What we have to do? We have to match it. I know it's very easy for you because you know the story very well. Okay, so the first one, the first blind man, second blind man, third blind man, fourth blind man, fifth blind man, sixth blind man. And here we have rock, tree, spear, fan, wall and snake in column B. Can we match it? Are you ready? Okay, now listen. The first blind man thought the elephant is just like a wall. And what did the second blind man thought? He thought the elephant is just like a spear. Yes. And the third blind man, he thought the elephant is just like a snake. Fourth blind man believed that it is just like a tree. And the fifth blind man, he thought the elephant is just like a fan because he touched the ear of the elephant. And the last one, the sixth blind man, he thought the elephant is just like a rock because he touched the tail of the elephant. Have you done? Finished? Marking the answers? Just mark it instead of drawing lines. Okay? Just put A, B, C, D according to the correct question and the answer. Match it correctly and put the alphabets instead of drawing lines. Okay, now can we move to the next one? Choose the correct answer and fill in the blanks. Okay, so the first question there, the 6 blind men wanted to, a blank is there and there is a bracket also, consider some choices. See, learn, eat, pick new things. Which is the correct word? The 6 blind men wanted to, what's the answer? Wanted to learn. The 6 blind men wanted to learn new things. Now the second question. The blind men went to the dash, forest, circus, field, hospital to touch and feel the elephant. Did they went to the forest? No. They went to the circus to touch and feel the elephant. Now the third one. The third blind man touched the elephant's trunk, tusk, tail and leg. Which is the correct answer? It is trunk. The third blind man touched the elephant's trunk. Now at the end, the 6 blind men started, there's a blank, talking, arguing, complaining, sharing amongst themselves. At the end, the 6 blind men started arguing amongst themselves. Now the wise men helped the blind men see, feel, lift, move the animal all over. The wise men helped the blind men feel the animal all over. Finished? So this is the comprehension. Comprehension means what you have understood from the lesson. Okay? It's very easy for you because it's a very simple and easy story. Now is the most important part that you must be very, very careful about. Listen to me carefully. Okay? It's very simple. You might have come across these phrases in your day-to-day life and in your textbook and all before. But we are going to find out what that is clearly. Just listen to me. That's the grammar part. See, in the grammar part, we are going to study about partitive nouns. What is it? Partitive nouns. What do you mean by partitive nouns? What do you mean by part? That is it. It's a part. Okay. So you might have studied countable and uncountable nouns. Have you studied countable and uncountable nouns? I know that from first standard onwards you are studying this. No, you have been studying this. Countable and uncountable nouns. Nouns that we can count is called a countable, and nouns that we cannot count is called an uncountable nouns, isn't it? So, can we say, so you might have studied articles, and, etc. And can we say, when we refer to countable nouns, can we say water, a sand, a rice, like that? No. Why? Why? Because they are all uncountable, that we cannot count. So we cannot use the article a or an along with uncountable nouns. But we can use a or an along with uncountable nouns if we use a word, a noun along with it. A part of it is mentioned. There we can say what it is. Instead of, we can use a water, we can simply say what? A glass of water. A glass of water, there we use the word glass, and that word glass is called partitive noun. That means, see, we learnt about countable and uncountable noun. It is difficult to count uncountable nouns. We can't count uncountable nouns. So, with the help of partitive nouns, it is possible to make uncountable nouns countable. We can count it. But we have to use what? A noun before it. And that word is called a partitive nouns. We cannot count chocolate. We say a bar of chocolate. A cake of salt. We can't count salt, but we say a cake of salt. like that. Okay, a sheet of paper, a loaf of bread. Their sheet, cake, bar, glass, loaf. These words are all called partitive nouns. In order to make the uncountable nouns countable, we are using these words. See, some examples are given there. Now, before that, we have to see partitive nouns indicate a part, a quantity. It shows a measure. Clear? A part of it, a quantity of it. The partitive nouns are usually followed by the word of. Be very careful. It's all the time followed by the word of. For example, Ankit ate a slice of cake as a dessert. Ankit ate a slice of cake. See here, cake is uncountable. But we made that uncountable noun countable by using what? Slice. Slice is the partitive noun. It mentions that part of cake, a piece of cake. Clear? Payal bought a loaf of bread from the baker. Bread is uncountable. In order to make it countable, we use what? A loaf. Loaf means a piece of bread. See, in the above sentences, the words slice and loaf indicate a part of the whole cake and bread respectively. See, these two, this cake and bread, are uncountable. In order to make it countable, we use two words. Which are the two words? Slice of cake, loaf of bread. So, when we use the word slice and loaf, that makes the uncountable cake and bread countable. It shows a piece of it. Clear? So, those nouns are called partitive nouns. See, we can go through some more examples of partitive nouns. See the first picture, milk. Can we say a milk? No, it's wrong. We can't say like that. It is a glass of milk. That a glass means it is partitive noun. That glass is used to count what? Milk. We cannot as such count the milk because it is uncountable. It is in liquid form. We can't count it. Okay. So, in order to make it countable, we use what? This partitive noun. And which is the partitive noun used there? Glass. Clear? And see the next picture. What is there? It's sugar. Can we count sugar? We can't, no? So, instead we use a partitive noun for it. What is it? A spoonful of sugar. Clear? In order to make it countable, we use the word spoonful. Thereby, we can count that. Okay? See here, perfume. How can we count? A bottle of perfume. We can't count, otherwise we can't count perfume. It is uncountable. But to make it countable, we use what? A bottle of perfume. Clear? Next is a cup of coffee. Coffee is uncountable. In order to make it countable, we use what? A cup of coffee. Here we have the picture of honey. Honey again is uncountable. So, a jar of honey here. Jar is the partitive noun. And after that, there's a picture of ice cream. Can we count ice cream? Can we? No, a ball of ice cream like that. But here we have a scoop of it. So, it is a scoop of ice cream. So, which are the partitive nouns we come across in this slide? Which are they? The examples of partitive nouns here? Glass, spoonful, bottle, cup, jar and scoop. And these nouns are used to make the uncountable nouns. Which are the uncountable nouns here? Milk, sugar, perfume, coffee, honey and ice cream countable. I think the phrase, the partitive noun is very clear to you. Partitive nouns are words which are used to make the uncountable nouns countable. Clear? Can we move on to the Textual exercises there. Fill in the blanks using the appropriate partitive nouns from the box. Here we have some partitive nouns in the box. It is there in your textbook. Page number 33. Are you ready? Okay. Clap. What do you mean by clap? It shows the sound, isn't it? Scoop. We already mentioned scoop. Scoop of ice cream. Pulse. Pinch. A pinch of salt or sugar. Then we have a quart of paint or something like that. Clear? Now we can just go through the exercises that is there in the textbook. Are you ready? Here, Piyush had a dash of ice cream at the restaurant. Piyush had a dash of ice cream at the restaurant. What may be the answer there? Can you tell? What is the answer? Scoop. Piyush had a scoop of ice cream at the restaurant. Second one, a dash of paint scraped off from Arjun's bicycle after the accident. Paint. We usually paint quarts of paint. So what is the partitive noun there? It is quart. A quart of paint scraped off from Arjun's bicycle after the accident. Next, please add a pinch of salt to the curry. We can also use spoonful, but salt actually we use a pinch of it, isn't it? So please add a pinch of salt to the curry. Now, otherwise we'll spoil the curry, no? A dash of thunder frightened my cat and it hid under the sofa. A dash of thunder. A clap of thunder. A clap of thunder frightened my cat and it hid under the sofa. Grandfather often used to give us pearls of wisdom. So, scoop, quart, pinch, clap and pearls. These are all partitive nouns. Clear? These are used to make the uncountable noun ice cream, paint, salt, thunder and wisdom countable. Otherwise, they are all uncountable nouns. Actually, they are uncountable, but in order to make it countable, we use these nouns. Clear? Okay, good. Now we are going to move to the next part, that is vocabulary. See, it's very important because you are all learners of English. While you are learning English, you must be very much aware of the new words that is there in your English language. Okay, that makes you more fluent in this particular language. After all, you are all studying in English medium school, so you must struggle hard to make your vocabulary more strong. Read a lot. Newspaper, books and all, read and all. You are getting a lot of time nowadays. Try to read a lot of books and try to read English newspaper. Clear? So, we move on to the vocabulary part, and that is similes. I think you might have come across this word earlier also. Simile means when we compare one thing to another. We usually say, when we see a tall boy or a tall man, we say, he looks like a giraffe. He's all as tall as a giraffe. We use these sentences to compare the height of that man. No? Usually say, if we say fat man, we'll say, he looks like an elephant. No? We usually say in order to ridicule or mock at that person. No? We usually say like that, but we usually don't want to mock or ridicule a person, but even then we used to do like that. No? We compare a person or a thing to yet another thing or person. Isn't it? So that is what is called a simile. Simile means when we compare a noun to another is called a simile. But when we usually compare a thing to another, we use two words. Either we use like or we use as. Okay? Remember, when we compare one thing to another, then what will we do? We use the words like and as. We use words such as like and as to compare two different things. See the example, he fights like a lion. Okay? If we say he fights like a lion, now we are just comparing that person, the bravery of that person to just like that of a lion. Here, she swims as fast as a fish. There also we compare the swimming ability of that particular girl to the fish. Okay, so here we use two words like and as in order to compare one thing to another. In order to compare two different things, there we use what? Like and as. So these sentences, if we use like or as in order to compare, then those sentences are called similes. What is it? Simile, see the spelling of it? S-I-M-I-L-E-S. That is simile. S-I-M-I-L-E-S. Some more examples of similes are there. He is as strong as an ox. Here we compare the strength of that boy to that of an ox. We are not comparing that person to ox. We are comparing the strength of that boy to the ox. Okay. Now, Rohit is as busy as a bee. What do you mean by as busy as a bee? It means he is doing a lot of work, very busy. He is not getting any time to rest. His workaholic is doing a lot of work. He is very busily doing the work. That is why Rohit is compared to bee. Clear? Now, Virat is as tall as a giraffe. The height of Virat is compared to that of a giraffe. Here we use as and as to compare Virat to giraffe. Clear? Here we compare Virat and giraffe. He sleeps like a bug in a rug. Bug means a fly. Okay? Usually sleeps very comfortably in a rug. So he sleeps very comfortably. So that is why he is compared to a bug. Okay? Rug means a mattress. They fought like cats and dogs. Have you seen how a cat or a dog fight each other? Very vulgarly, no? So like that they also fought against each other. So here also we come across a lot many examples using the word like or as. So when we use like or as in order to compare one thing to another or to compare two different things, those sentences can be said as similes. Clear? So now the textual exercises, fill in the blanks with a simile from the box. As pretty as a peacock, as innocent as a dove, as busy as a bee, as cunning as a fox, as wise as an owl. Can we do that? Okay. Now here, my grandfather was very intelligent. He is very intelligent. Which may be the phrase that comes here to join, compare the intelligence of grandfather. Can you answer me? Yes, he is as wise as an owl. Owl is usually considered as a wise bird, isn't it? That little boy is very trusting. We can believe him. If we believe him, then he is as innocent as a dove. You know what's a dove? Dove is the other word of pigeon, no? So, he's as innocent as a dove. That little girl is cute. Which may be the phrase, the simile that come across this. That little girl is cute. Yes, she is as pretty as a peacock. Now, next one, that lawyer is a cheat. Cheat. Yes, here, as cunning as a fox. Now, the reporter has a lot of work. She's as busy as a bee. Hope you all have written this. Have you? Okay. With that, we come to the end of the class. Thank you, children. If you have any doubt, you can freely call me. My number and name is here. Okay. Hope you all understood what is partitive nouns and the similes. Thank you. Have a great day.